when you open up Microsoft Project, there are some default settings that you need to address immediately to make sure that your project is set up correctly. The first thing that you would want to do is, if you notice down at the bottom right here, the tasks are automatically set up as manually scheduled. So the first thing you want to do is select this box and select auto scheduled. And what that means is that each task now, instead of being manually updated where you could change the duration and move it around accordingly, it's set up in an auto schedule format such that once you insert the logic and create the relationships, the schedule will shift accordingly when you start adjusting durations and making modifications, which is really the intended purpose of the software. So another thing you should do when you start off is to make sure that you have a successor column along with predecessor. So if you take and you drag this over, these are the default columns that come up immediately. You can add a large number of columns by simply selecting this drop-down box and picking from a large amount of items here. Now, as you move along in your software skills, you can mess around with different things, but for the most part, there's a few that are really important to get started. So I'm going to select successors here, and what I can do is just select the column and I could drag it wherever I'd like. These columns here I may not want. I can highlight, right-click, and select hide. I can take this and shift it over and set it up how I would like. So at this point I have my predecessors, the successors, the task's name, duration, start and finish, which are sort of the fundamentals that you need to get started. Something else that you want to do when you get kicked off is to insert the holidays. And you could do that by selecting the project tab up top, and you'll see the change working times here. Select that, and now you'll see a calendar here, and you can highlight any date that you want to make a holiday. There's going to be some Black Fridays for the union holidays and just general holidays throughout the year, because you want them figured into your calculations. So those aren't work days unless you make it a work day and create it possibly an overtime event. So if I'm going to just select 4th of July as an example. So I click down to July, I select 4th of July, and I type what the holiday is in the box. Hit enter, and automatically that day is blanked out. So when I start inputting the logic, that day won't be a working day unless I make it one. You can select a Friday and call it a Black Friday, and so on and so forth.